Good evening, everyone. This is Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust Latur MS India organizing daily international webinar series. In this series, speakers are invited from India and abroad. Speakers are sharing their knowledge on the topic as per their field of interest and research. This series is running from last 5 years under the Women Empowerment series. And in this series, we are enriching in the knowledge every day by listening from various speakers from India and abroad. Today, on 20th April, we have invited Dr. Pooja Singh ma'am, who is assistant professor at Chitkara University, Punjab, India. Being an educator, her topic is psychological tool for empathetic educators. I welcome you, ma'am, from my organization and from all the participants. Yesterday, I have requested her to deliver the speech, and as soon as I requested, she accepted the topic. Within one day, she have prepared and joined here as a speaker. I welcome you, ma'am, and I request you, you can start your speech now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for inviting me. And it's a great pleasure conducting this session. And I hope all the people, all the participants who've joined today may, find it useful in some way or the other. So as you asked me to start, so I will be talking about psychological tools for empathetic educators. As an educator who's been teaching for over 8 years now, and as a psychologist, I have a PhD in psychology, and I genuinely, with all my heart, believe in being empathetic towards not just my clients as a counselor, but also to my students in the classroom. So I've always believed that empathy is something which all of us as teachers in the classroom should show towards our students. So this is why I chose this topic. As you see here on the screen, all of us have heard a lot about emotional quotient and intelligence quotient, and all of us educators, we've always throughout, I think for many years now, IQ is something that is considered very important when it comes to academic achievement of the students. But lately, even EQ is being considered very important. So if you might have gone through a lot of research, a lot of articles which say that EQ is even more important compared to IQ. And there is always a tussle going on between our heart and our mind. And when it comes to EQ and IQ, there are a lot of studies which show that people who have higher EQs, they are happier, they perform well at the work, in their respective workplaces. So EQ is considered more important. IQ has always been a very strong predictor of job performance and many learning outcomes. But EQ predicts important social, emotional, and well-being outcomes. For example, in leadership, teamwork, resilience, interpersonal effectiveness. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, as many of you might have read about this. So there are different dimensions or different components of emotional intelligence. We have self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. So self-awareness is about understanding your own emotions. So whatever emotion you're experiencing, you should understand, you should have awareness about it. So if you're angry, you realize that you're angry because of something. That is self-awareness. And we have self-management. Self-management is that you are able to manage your emotions. So if I'm angry, for example, I understand कि मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है, but then I also know how to manage my emotions, how to manage my anger well. So that is self-management. Then we have social awareness, which is basically understanding what others are going through or understanding cues, emotional cues, expressions, and emotional behavior in others. If somebody is upset and you understand and you know that this person is upset today, that is social awareness, social cues basically. And then we have relationship management. So relationship management is what? Relationship management is when you know that how to go about interacting with others well, how to manage relationships, how to manage at your workplace, relationships at your workplace or your personal relationships. So that these are the four main components of emotional intelligence. Then as I hope you can see the slides. Yes. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, like I said, these components are very important, and there are a lot many ways we can incorporate these into our daily lives, in our daily routine. जैसे बहुत सारी different activities हैं that we can use. There's mindful body scan. There's practicing gratitude, mindful eating. So all of these, some activities are mentioned here in the PPT. So they help us with self-awareness. Similarly, we talk about self-regulation, listening to music, dancing, moving it till you lose it. So basically dancing, maybe just going for a run, doing some physical activity, reading a book, mindful coloring. All of these help us with self-regulation. Then we have empathy. Empathy is again very important and this is basically the topic for today, that as empathetic educators, we need to realize that we need to be active listeners, look for common ground. We need to practice perspective taking. We need to avoid making assumptions, and we need to show compassion towards others. So, like I said, in the classroom, not just in the counseling arena, but also in the classroom, I believe it is very important that when you are interacting with your students, when you are teaching students, you need to be empathetic towards them. Then social skills. Social skills may, meaning maintaining eye contact and using proper body language. We should know the difference between being assertive and aggressive. So we need to understand that how to convey our point assertively without being aggressive, without raising our voice, but standing our ground. Then being flexible, remaining positive always, showing respect towards others, being human, being teachable, accepting criticism, knowing your channels, at the workplace. All of these things are extremely important when it comes to social skills. And this is something that as teachers also, as educators also, we should know and we should be practicing. And we can also teach our students about the same and inculcate in them the same skills. Then we have some points that, as educators, you could use in the classroom, which is definitely going to help you. Start small and safe, if there's a student in the classroom and you think that this particular student is has some kind of maybe behavioral issue, or maybe some kind of confidence related issue, some kind of you think that the child is going through something, is not opening up in the classroom. So don't put a lot of pressure on the child. Don't pressurize the child to speak. Don't ask him or her a lot of questions. Give them that much space. Give them a small low stakes role in the group. Maybe group task दीजिए, वहां पे आप उसको कोई छोटा सा रोल दे सकते हैं, टाइम कीपिंग का, नोट टेकिंग का, मे बी समराइजिंग का, so that you're helping the child gain some sense of confidence. Pairing before group, quite some, if the child is very quiet, in that case, again, just maybe a think pair share approach where पहले वो आपस में the kids will share ideas, the students will talk to each other and then voice whatever it is that they want to speak. Similarly, you could offer them different choice when it comes to the assignments also, right? So this is something that I also practice and I have been practicing in my classroom, that when it comes to assignments. So if there's one assignment, I usually give the children the liberty to pick the medium of presentation of the assignment. So sometimes the assignment, the theme remains the same, but I tell the students that, if somebody is maybe comfortable preparing a poster, they could do that. If somebody is comfortable maybe making a video on it, they could do that. If somebody wants to maybe write a nice article on it, they could do that. So offer that choice to the students. Also know the why, right? So if somebody is quiet or if somebody is going through something, you think that बच्चा जो है क्लास में नहीं बोल रहा है या ज्यादा बोल रहा है या कुछ चेंज आया है बच्चे में, could be anything. So you need to know the why behind it. Why exactly is this happening? What is the root cause? And for that also, we could maybe just do a private check-in. So instead of, embarrassing the child in front of everybody, you could just maybe ask the child later कि क्या प्रॉब्लम है, क्यों आप बात नहीं कर रहे हो, कुछ हुआ है क्या, if there's anything you want to share, you could share. So these things, as educators, we really need to be very sensitive about, and we need to know how to deal with such students and how exactly we can ensure that the child is getting that psychologically safe environment in the classroom where the child can speak up. So there's, like I mentioned before, that there has been a lot of research about teacher empathy. So they say that if the teacher is empathetic, it contributes to student well-being and engagement, right? So teachers who genuinely, care about their students, who genuinely offer emotional support to students, उनको उन बच्चों के लिए उनके stress levels कम होते हैं. And such teachers really help the child reduce his or her stress levels and anxiety levels as well. So again, another research here, I mentioned that a systematic review was conducted, and it was found that empathy helps teachers better understand the experiences of diverse learners. So all of us, who are educators, when we are in the classroom, बहुत सारे diverse learners होते हैं class में. Everybody has a different IQ. All the students they could come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different SES. So we have to ensure that if we are empathetic enough, each and every child in the classroom will feel valued, and that really goes a long way. So there are a lot of psychological concepts that we could use in the classroom and we could understand as educators, so that the child, each and every child in the classroom is helped. So I'm going to talk a bit about the different concepts. So the first one is the Pygmalion effect. Now, Pygmalion effect is basically a very useful and a very it is something which has been observed not just in the classroom, but it has also been observed at the workplace, right? So it means that if I am teaching a class, and if there's an average child in the class, and if it's the very first time I'm interacting with students in that class, I'm new to the students. So if I talk to an average child in a good way, and if I convey through my body language, through my facial expressions, through my words, to my tone, that I believe in that child, that I believe that the child is smart, किसको आता है सब कुछ, वो स्मार्ट बच्चा है, इंटेलिजेंट बच्चा है, तो वो अगर मैं उसको कन्वे करूंगी, that particular child is going to perform well in my subject, even though the child is average. So this is, what the Pygmalion effect is. So if I am showing that confidence in the child, if I am conveying to the child that the child matters and that I find the child smart, and by smart I mean intelligent, so the child will definitely perform well in my subject. So this is what Pygmalion effect is all about, and it is very useful, and trust you me, it is something which is very, if you start practicing it consciously also, it is going to help the children in the class perform better in your subject. Then there's something called emotional contagion. So emotional contagion again is a very natural concept, a very natural phenomenon, if I may call it, because moods or emotions are something which spread subconsciously in groups. तो हम जैसे बोलते हैं कि happy parents make happy teachers. Happy parents make happy kids. Similarly, happy टीचर्स ऑल्सो मेक हैप्पी किड्स, यू नो. अगर पेरेंट्स हैप्पी हैं तो बच्चे भी हैप्पी होते हैं. सिमिलरली अगर टीचर्स हैप्पी हैं तो क्लास भी हैप्पी रहेगी, जो बच्चे हैं वो हैप्पी रहेंगे. सो टीचर्स moods can impact the whole class. If there's a teacher who walks into the classroom and the teacher is, you know, frowning or not very happy, is angry all the time, तो बच्चों में भी वही मूड, वो फियर एक इंड्यूस हो जाएगा. They wouldn't really be very comfortable learning anything in the class because उनमें उनका मूड खराब हो गया या उनको टीचर को देख के डर लग गया कि टीचर का मूड आज खराब है, राइट. सो दिस इज समथिंग which causes a lot of stress in the students. It can make the whole classroom atmosphere a bit tense. So this is what emotional contagion is all about, and as teachers we need to be very mindful of the emotion that we bring to the class. Everybody is going through something or the other, right? सबको stress है, टीचर्स को भी स्ट्रेस है, बट वो स्ट्रेस क्लासरूम में मत लेके जाइए. सो व्हेन यू आर इन द क्लासरूम, कीप योर स्ट्रेस असाइड, leave it outside of the classroom so that when you walk into the classroom you are conveying positive emotions to the children, you are conveying good emotions, happiness to the children. If you are a happy teacher, the students will also catch on to it and they would want to learn more from you. So this is what emotional contagion is all about. Then and again, you know, you'll find a lot of research on this also, that students who perceived their teachers as happy, they reported higher motivation and more positive attitudes towards learning, right? So this suggests that teacher happiness can directly influence student engagement and enthusiasm. The next topic that I'm going to talk about, the concept that we have here, is the spotlight effect. And when we talk about the spotlight effect, it is basically a cognitive bias that all of us experience. हम सब experience करते हैं. हम स्टेज पे जा रहे हैं या कहीं क्राउड में हैं या क्लास में बोलना पड़ रहा है या किसी मीटिंग में बोलना पड़ रहा है. So always we think that, you know, that the light is on us, the spotlight is on us, that we are being observed and noticed by everybody, whatever it is that we are doing. छोटी सी छोटी चीज हमको लगता है कि लोग हमारी नोटिस कर रहे हैं. But this is a cognitive bias. It is not correct per se, you know. It is something that is going on inside of our head. Maybe people are not even noticing us that much. So this thing is something that we really need to guard against, because what happens is that बच्चों पे जब वो स्पॉटलाइट इफेक्ट पड़ता है, जब वो एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं तो वो घबरा जाते हैं. सो क्लासरूम में there's a kid maybe who is very shy, right? So there could be, obviously in every class we have different types of learners. अगर कोई बच्चा है जो बहुत shy है या कोई ऐसा बच्चा है जिसका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल इतना ज्यादा नहीं है, और अगर हम you know, as a teacher you come to the class and then maybe you put that kid in spotlight कि हाँ तुम बताओ, you stand up and tell me the correct answer, or what are you doing and why are you not listening and stuff like that. So if the child is already very shy or already very high on anxiety, this is going to cause the child a lot of pain, you know, psychological stress. So as teachers we really need to understand कि जो बहुत ज्यादा कॉन्शियस स्टूडेंट्स हैं उनके साथ हम उनको ऐसे स्पॉटलाइट में ना डालें. एंड दिस इज समथिंग, अगेन ऑल दीज कॉन्सेप्ट्स दैट आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट टुडे, वी नीड टू एंश्योर दैट वी आर talking to our students about it, we are telling them about it, we are making them understand about it, so that, you know, we can instill in them some confidence to maybe speak up in the class or be more comfortable in the class. But for that, again, like I said, we really need to be very empathetic, we really need to be very mindful of the words that we are using, we really need to be very mindful of the expressions, हमारे जो facial expressions हैं उनके ऊपर भी हमें बहुत ध्यान देना चाहिए, because sometimes just like a small little frown or maybe, you know, आप थोड़ा सा eyebrows raise कर रहे हैं या आप frown कर रहे हैं, बच्चे ने कुछ answer किया और आप हंस देते हो या anything, you know, small little thing, maybe वो आपको इतना matter नहीं करता है, but that could really impact the child's confidence level. So we really need to understand that we are very much important in the sense that we, you know, whatever the teacher is doing in the class, especially with younger students, छोटे बच्चों की, छोटे बड़े बच्चे भी, but especially younger students, उनके ऊपर बहुत impact होता है teacher के behavior का. So again, like I said, when we talk about spotlight effect, anxiety ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है, engagement कम हो जाती है, performance पे भी impact होता है. So these are the things that we really need to understand as educators and ensure that these things are not happening in the class. The next topic that I am going to talk about is something called the affective filter. Now, what is the affective filter? Affective filter basically means that children have this filter, एक mental filter होता है, जो अगर बच्चा बहुत स्ट्रेस में है, अगर बच्चा बहुत डरा हुआ है क्लास में, the child is very much scared of the teacher, or the child is very much, maybe there's a sense of shyness, or maybe the sense of embarrassment कि अगर मैं आंसर करूंगा तो बच्चे हंसेंगे, अगर मैं आंसर करूंगा तो टीचर मुझे डांटेगा, तो वो उनका इफेक्टिव फिल्टर हाई होता है. अगर उनका इफेक्टिव फिल्टर ये हाई है तो उनकी जो कॉग्निटिव परफॉर्मेंस होती है वो कम हो जाती है. सो इफ दे आर ऑलवेज स्कैर्ड, if they are always worried about what other kids would say, or if they are always worried about what the teacher would say, तो उनका cognitive performance automatically कम हो जाएगा. उनका if it happens with all of us, जब हम भी stress में होते हैं, we always think sometimes we say that I have a lot of stress today, I won't be able to focus on this particular task, या मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा, आज मुझे बहुत स्ट्रेस है, या मेरे को नहीं समझ आ रहा, मेरे को आज ये बहुत स्ट्रेस में हूँ, मेरे दिमाग में कुछ और चल रहा है. So exactly this is something which is happening with the child also. If the child is not psychologically safe in the classroom, the child won't be able to learn that well. The child won't be able to cognitively, retain information that well. So इफेक्टिव फिल्टर जो है हमें उसको लो करना है, एंड उसको लो करने के लिए हम क्या करेंगे, हमें बच्चे को मोटिवेट करना है. वी नीड टू इंस्टिल इन द चाइल्ड अ सेंस ऑफ self-confidence. We need to lower anxiety levels. As teachers, as educators, we need to ensure that we are creating a nice, healthy, positive, happy classroom atmosphere where each and every child feels valued, and where each and every child feels that sense of confidence that they can speak up, they can express themselves. So this is the effective filter hypothesis, or the concept of effective filter. And again, they found that if like for example anxiety, if the child has a high effective filter, बहुत ज़्यादा anxiety है, तो language classrooms में performance और retention कम हो जाता है. Similarly, another study found that positive emotions enhance cognitive processing. So if the child is happy in the class, their cognitive processing would be better. They would learn better. They would want to learn. They would pay more attention in the classroom. So that is why effective filter is very important. Now, there are certain strategies that the teachers could use in the classroom, which help the students a lot. So the first one is starting small and celebrating big, right? So छोटे छोटे टास्क आप दीजिए बच्चों को, और उन चीजों को सेलिब्रेट भी कीजिए. अगर बच्चा कुछ छोटा सा टास्क भी कंप्लीट कर रहा है, आप उसको पॉजिटिव रीइंफोर्समेंट दीजिए, उसको सेलिब्रेट कीजिए. दिस इज डेफिनेटली गोइंग टू हेल्प build confidence in the child. Similarly, using the yet strategy. So if the child says that I can't do this, या मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगा, या बहुत टफ है, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगी, या मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा, so just try and tell the child कि उसमें बस एक yet लगा दो. So if the child is saying I can't do this, so you say कि उसमें आप बस एक yet लगाओ, तो you can't do this yet, कि अभी नहीं कर पाओगे, बाद में कर पाओगे. Maybe today, maybe right now is not the right time for you to accomplish it, but someday you can. So you'll have to put in some effort into it, but I'm sure you can accomplish whatever it is that you put your mind to. So a little word, just a little word yet that you're adding to the sentence, but it can bring about a big mindset shift in the child's thinking thought process, right? So this is another strategy that the teachers should instill in students. Then praising effort and not just results. So there's so many, like I have been mentioning over and over again, that in the classroom we have so many different टाइप्स ऑफ चिल्ड्रन, अलग अलग स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अलग अलग एबिलिटीज हैं, अलग एप्टीट्यूड्स हैं, अलग इंटरेस्ट्स हैं उनके. सो वी शुड नॉट इक्वेट ऑल द चिल्ड्रन, राइट? हर बच्चा अलग है, हर बच्चा स्पेशल है. सो उसके एफर्ट्स को प्रेज कीजिए, रिजल्ट्स को नहीं. हो सकता है कुछ बच्चे बहुत अच्छे रिजल्ट्स ला रहे हैं, कुछ बच्चों के रिजल्ट्स उतने अच्छे नहीं हैं जितना मे बी दूसरे बच्चे ला रहे हैं, बट इट डजंट मीन दैट द चाइल्ड इज नॉट not good in that particular thing. Maybe the child is not interested, maybe the child is better at something else, maybe the child would do really well in some other subject. So we really need to start praising effort and start reinforcing effort, because if you are praising effort, then you are ingraining in the child this thought process ki effort matter karta hai, ki it is not just the results but I have to put in efforts, and that is something which will be reinforced. Then we need to model mistakes, right? So we need to appear more human in front of our students. So teachers ko bhi they need to model mistakes. छोटी मोटी कोई error आप जान के भी कर सकते हैं, आपसे गलती से भी कुछ हो जाता है error. So don't just make it funny, don't make a big deal out of it and just say that oops, my brain went on a vacation, or कि आप normalize कर रहे हैं कि mistakes are fine, it is okay. Laugh at your mistakes. So if you are creating in the classroom this kind of atmosphere जहाँ पे आप mistakes को भी एक्सेप्ट कर रहे हैं, आप उन पे हंस रहे हैं इन अ गुड वे ऑब्वियसली, तो आप बच्चों को भी यही सिखा रहे हैं कि इट्स ओके टू मेक मिस्टेक्स. देन द बच्चा वुडंट रियली बी स्कैर्ड टू मे बी आंसर, है ना? बिकॉज बहुत सारे बच्चे दे आर वेरी स्कैर्ड दैट इवन इफ द आंसर इज राइट, इवन इफ दे नो द राइट आंसर, समटाइम्स दे डोंट हैव द कॉन्फिडेंस टू स्पीक अप इन द क्लास. व्हाई? बिकॉज उनको लगता है कि अगर मैंने गलत बोल दिया तो हंसेंगे मेरे पे या मुझे डांट पड़ेगी, राइट? सो यू हैव टू इंश्योर दैट द चाइल्ड knows that it is okay. बोलना है, करेक्ट है या इनकरेक्ट है, that doesn't matter. The effort matters and mistakes are also fine. It is okay. It is perfectly fine to make mistakes. Then give choices. So this is something that I mentioned before also, that just let the students choose between 2-3 tasks. If there's any topic, any kind of assessment, any kind of assignment that you're conducting in the classroom, कोई आप task उनको assign कर रहे हो, उनको आप थोड़ा सा control दीजिए, उनको उतनी autonomy दीजिए कि वो choose कर सकते हैं, चाहे topics, चाहे जो medium है उसको present करने का. Because if you offer that autonomy to the students, if you're offering that much liberty to the students, they will enjoy completing the task. उनको अच्छा लगेगा कि हाँ, this is something that, so the teacher has told me कि मैं वीडियो भी बना सकती हूँ, या मैं एक आर्टिकल भी लिख सकती हूँ, या मैं पोस्टर भी बना सकती हूँ. सो अगर आप वो लिबर्टी देंगे तो वो इंटरेस्टेड होके काम करेंगे, दे वुड वांट टू वर्क. सो गिव चॉइसेस, गिव दैट मच ऑटोनॉमी टू द स्टूडेंट्स. देन वी हैव peer encouragement. So again, just try and pair students with positive buddies, and so that if they are interacting with each other, they are helping each other out. And if somebody is is very positive, if somebody is always offering a lot of positive comments, help अगर provide कर रहा है बच्चा दूसरे बच्चे को, तो उनकी दोनों की growth ही बहुत अच्छी होगी when it comes to their, whether it's academics or co-curriculars, right? Then reframe failures as feedback. Now this is also very important. So we need to reframe. Failure जो है या कोई भी चीज है जो आप नहीं कर पा रहे हो, वो फेलियर नहीं है, इट इज डेटा. सो यू हैव टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट इज नॉट वर्किंग, राइट? सो इफ यू आर अनेबल टू मे बी गेट say 80% or 90% in this particular subject, it doesn't mean that you're failing. अगर आपके कम मार्क्स आए हैं, it doesn't mean that you're failed. It means that now you have data and you know what to do with it, or you should try and understand what to do with it. कि ऐसा है तो क्यों है? Let us maybe change it. Let us maybe work towards improving it. So let us find out together what is not working. अगर बच्चे के मार्क्स अच्छे नहीं आ रहे हैं, उसको डांटो मत, उस पे चिल्लाओ मत, उसको कम किसी भी तरह से छोटा मत फील कराओ, उसको आप ये समझाओ कि अच्छा कि अगर ऐसा नहीं हो रहा है तो चलो बात करते हैं, देखते हैं what can be done, what exactly are you struggling with, what kind of help do you require from my end. So you see, as teachers, I genuinely believe that we are not the authority, and this is, we are also we are facilitators, we are learning together with the students, हम उनको facilitate कर रहे हैं, उनको guide कर रहे हैं. So instead of scolding them, or instead of being very authoritative or authoritarian and just telling them what is right or what is wrong, we should help them understand what is right or what is wrong. Instead of just giving them information, we should ensure कि बच्चे को खुद समझ आ रहा है कि क्या सही है, क्या गलत है, कैसे पढ़ना है, कैसे नहीं पढ़ना है. Because that will definitely add on to lifelong learning in students. उनमें आप instill करेंगे एक curiosity और एक passion towards learning more. Then consistency and kindness, they also go a long way. You should be calm in the classroom. You should be a steady anchor in the classroom. You should show to the students that you believe in them, that grades ठीक है, matter करते हैं grades, but उतने matter नहीं करते. That if you it should not be like a एक बहुत ज्यादा स्कैरी एक्सपीरियंस नहीं बना देना है हमने स्टडीज को कि हाँ जी ग्रेड्स लाओ, मार्क्स लाओ, तभी बढ़ोगे, तभी आगे जाओगे. वी हैव टू एंश्योर दैट वी ऑफर टू द स्टूडेंट्स दिस सेफ स्पेस वेयर दे फ्लरिश, जहाँ पे वो खुद फ्लरिश कर रहे हैं, जहाँ पे वो खुद पढ़ना चाह रहे हैं, जहाँ पे वो खुद सीखना चाह रहे हैं. एंड यू एज अ टीचर शुड ऑलवेज बी देयर to provide them that moral support and whatever support in whatever form they need from you. So helpless students need someone who never gives up on them. So you should not give up on your students. You should never make them feel any smaller. You should ensure that you are giving them, you're conveying to them that importance and value so that they build self-confidence. Now, teach students how to embrace a growth mindset. Now, this is again a very nice empathetic approach as educators. So we need to add yet to the students' vocabulary, something that I've already discussed. Replace wrong with let's think again. So instead of saying कि हाँ नहीं तुमने तो गलत आंसर किया, ये क्या बोल रहे हो, ये तो गलत है, this is wrong. So just change your language a bit, let's think again. Okay, so you are somewhere right, you're close. आप सोचो इसके बारे में, थोड़ा और सोचते हैं, ऐसे words हम बोलें instead of saying कि नहीं तुम गलत हो. So this is also something that as teachers we need to understand. We need to be very mindful of the words that we are using. We use real life models, Einstein, J.K. Rowling, all of these people, they failed. They got rejected a lot many times, and yet they are, they achieved a lot in life. So give real life role models, examples to the students so that you motivate them more. Then again, a lot of research you'll find praising students for effort rather than ability led to higher motivation and persistence. बच्चों को हमने effort के लिए praise करना है, ability के लिए नहीं. हर बच्चे की ability level different होगा, हर बच्चे का interest level different होगा, हर बच्चे का aptitude different होगा. So उनके efforts को praise कीजिए, हर बच्चे को important feel कराइए. अगर बच्चे important feel करेंगे, वो class में better feel करेंगे और वो अच्छा पढ़ने की कोशिश करेंगे, right? Brain scans show learning effort actually changes brain structure. Literally, the mind grows if they are putting in effort to learn something new, right? So yes, like I talked about the growth mindset. So we really need to move ahead. हमको fixed mindset में नहीं रहना है. I'm not good at this नहीं. What exactly can I do to help me get better, right? What am I missing? I can try harder. I'll try a different strategy. ऐसी चीजें हमको ग्रोथ माइंडसेट हमको बच्चों को सिखाना है. इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग कि आई गिव अप, मुझसे नहीं हो रहा है, दिस इज टू हार्ड, आई मेक अ लॉट ऑफ मिस्टेक्स, मैं कभी भी नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मैं कभी भी नहीं कर पाऊंगी, ये सब चीजों की जगह कि हाँ चलो ट्राई करते हैं, चलो कुछ और डिफरेंट चीज ट्राई करते हैं, चलो हम maybe we should practice more, maybe someday I will achieve whatever it is that I'm trying to achieve. So the growth mindset is very important. So these are some examples, and I keep using a lot of humor and memes also. I use a lot of real life examples also in the classroom. So yeah, just using memes, use humor in the classroom as students. This is definitely going to help the students feel a lot better in your classroom, and they would want to learn more from you. So memes is one example, since students these days are on the social media, they are using a lot of social media, and they like humor integration in the classroom. So as teachers, we should be integrating humor in the classroom, right? Then for example, अगर आपकी क्लास में कोई बच्चा है अगेन जो बहुत इंटरप्ट करता है, बहुत ज्यादा बोलता है, या बहुत ज्यादा क्लास में there are kids in the classroom or either always talking or they're trying to interrupt, they want attention. So उस केस में हम क्या करें? So just recognize, अगर बच्चा कुछ बोल रहा है तो आप उसको acknowledge करो, आप बोलो कि yes, that's a good thought, let us hear the rest of the the other student's point and I'll come back to you. So very politely convey this to the student, give them that much acknowledgement कि हाँ मैंने सुन लिया है, because this is what the students want. They just want to be acknowledged. The ones who are making a lot of noise in the class or just interrupting, asking a lot of questions, they want that sense of acknowledgement. तो आप उनको दीजिए. Give them a structured role. हो सकता है कि बच्चा बहुत हाइपर है, बहुत ज्यादा हाइपर एक्टिव है, बहुत ज्यादा बोलता है, तो उसको आप कुछ ऐसा रोल दे दीजिए कोई ग्रुप टास्क में, कि जैसे डिस्कशन स्टार्टर का या समराइजर का, कि चलो जब स्टार्ट करेंगे सो यू विल मे बी स्टार्ट द डिस्कशन, या फिर जब हम एंड करेंगे सो यू विल समराइज व्हाट एवरीबॉडी सेड और व्हाटएवर डिस्कशन वाज took place in the class. So again, you are giving them the space to talk, you are letting the child speak, but in a more controlled manner, right? So again, private conversation later after the class, you could talk to the child, you could make the child understand that कि बहुत ज्यादा आपने jump in नहीं कर लेना है थोड़ा सा, because others maybe they hesitate to talk, or we could work together to find some kind of balance so that your enthusiasm is also, it stays and बाकी सब बच्चे भी participate कर पाएं. So we need to be very mindful of how we deal with such students in the classroom. Now what, again very important thing, what not to say in the class. हमें क्या चीजें जो नहीं बोलनी किसी बच्चे को. That's a stupid question. Yeah, ये क्या क्वेश्चन है, गलत क्वेश्चन पूछ लिया आपने, ये तुम्हें पता नहीं है क्या, नहीं ऐसे नहीं बोलना है. We should say that interesting question, let us think through it together. Yeah, for example, why didn't you do the assignment, क्यों नहीं किया तुमने काम, सबके सामने हम ऐसे बच्चों को बोल देते हैं. So instead of publicly shaming the student, just have a private conversation after the class. Similarly, ये तो बहुत simple है, तुम्हें ये भी नहीं आ रहा, ये तो बहुत ही simple है. So instead of saying that, say that, okay, so here's a straightforward way to approach this. ठीक है, let us maybe explain, let me explain this to you a bit differently. So अगेन, तुम तो इसकी बने ही नहीं हो, तुमसे तो ये नहीं हो पाएगा, तुमको लेना ही नहीं चाहिए था सब्जेक्ट. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ सेइंग दैट, से समथिंग लाइक, ओके दिस एरिया इज चैलेंजिंग बट विद प्रैक्टिस यू कैन इम्प्रूव. सो दीज आर वेरी स्मॉल लिटिल थिंग्स, एंड बट यस, एज टीचर्स I believe this is something that we should be practicing in the classroom, because like I said, each and every student matters in the class. I am an educator, I'm also a psychologist, and trust you me, students सब बच्चे बराबर हैं, सब बच्चे अच्छे हैं. If you are treating them well in the classroom, if you are genuinely interested in them, interested in knowing what they are saying, what they want to talk about, they will perform better in the class. They will feel safer psychologically, they will be more expressive, and they would want to learn more in the class. So as I always say that we have to mass slow before we bloom, because आजकल bloom पे हम बहुत ज़्यादा focus करते हैं, cognitive aspects पे हम बहुत ज़्यादा focus करते हैं, but as students, we need to understand that, as teachers, we need to provide a safe space to the child first. Maslow की जो hierarchy है, उसमें अगर हम safety की बात करते हैं, security की बात करते हैं, अगर love and belongingness की बात करते हैं, अगर बच्चे को आप वो सब provide नहीं कर रहे हो, तो बच्चा cognitively perform नहीं कर पाएगा अच्छा. So you have to ensure that the child feels safe in the class, the child feels cared for in the class, emotionally supported in the class. अगर वो सारी needs बच्चे की meet होंगी class में, तब बच्चा आगे सोच पाएगा, तब बच्चा आगे अच्छे से पढ़ाई कर पाएगा. So this was all from my side, and I hope that the participants liked the concepts. Some I could share maybe just 5-6 concepts, but I hope you liked it. If there's any questions, please go ahead. If there's anything you want to share, please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am, for your studious speech today. We all are teachers, and so that this topic is very much useful for us. As you have said about the topic, how we can identify the average students, how can create them interesting in learning. They might be having expert in one subject, but they our techniques or with the facilities or with the teachers' involvement, they can be the active student in the class. Also, the humor can help the students to create the environmental education environment in the class, and this will give the more effective teaching learning experience to the students. So, really, psychological tools we have given here, they are very useful for empathetic educators, and definitely these tools can be implemented by all the teachers, those who are joined here. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request participants, they can unmute and they can discuss with our today's speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, Dr. Shukla.
Yes, sir, please.
Good evening, Dr. BETKAR, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Wonderful presentation. And really, you'll find the era which is we are going through, the empathy is also, becoming a very rare phenomena. And you'll find when we are going to the schools and colleges, everyone is becoming very professional nowadays. Even that relationship of student and teacher is also very professional. So that empathy is a bond, what I feel, or it is a kind of a magnet, really it attracts the students in the classroom. And if you are very empathetic, the students are with you, they are understanding well, and the purpose of learning, gets solved very easily. But if I'm having that, lack of that empathy, right, so there may be a kind of barrier, or there may be a kind of, rejection to the students. So it is very necessary to have this empathy. Now my question is, nowadays people are saying whether we should be professional or we should be, empathetic. Because, nowadays even means talking too much to the, I went to one of the school, I'm a doctor, I go usually for school health checkup programs or something like that. But, there are some people, the school's administration, they restrict, you should not talk too much with the child, because I take my assistant and assistants are busy, in talking with these children. But I think that rapport is very necessary, to dissolve that, doctor-patient relationship or teacher-student relationship. So still, they are having their own protocols, and they says, no, we are not doing like this, not like that. Initially, we used to give medications also. Nowadays, there is too much of, the parent we should take a consent of the parent, and then, whether they will require medicines or no, or we should go for they will go for their own physicians. So like that, that kind of relationship is nowadays developing. So, it is not one person's empathy, I think it is the institution's empathy, is very necessary. becoming too rigid, will break the system. So what do you think about this? Please comment on this.
Thank you for sharing this, sir. Sir, what I feel, it also depends on the context. Like you mentioned that you are working in the medical field, right? And also, another very important thing that you mentioned is that we need to bring about a phenomenal change at the institutional level. So right now, as an educator, I completely understand the restrictions, or the ethic. When we talk about ethics, there are certain restrictions imposed by the institutions, or there are certain boundaries which are very much required also. But the correct balance needs to be achieved. For example, since I am an educator and I've been teaching so many students over the last 8 years now, I have realized, and I completely believe that I completely strongly believe in the fact that empathy is something that, as educators or whatever profession we are in, it is something which is very easy to offer, provided it comes genuinely, very authentically from within us, right? However, again, like I said, we need to, the professional boundaries need not be crossed. So I always, I try and not, I always make it very clear to my students that I am available to you in the office hours. So if you have any issue, you can come talk to me. You can come talk to me in the classroom. Maybe you can contact me later also. There are students from other departments also in my university who approach me. I always tell them, I make it very clear that this is not the right, if you want to come talk to me, you have to maybe approach your mentor first. You have to come to me through your department, right? So I can't really entertain you. I can't really talk to you. I can't really offer counseling services to you. But I can talk to you only if your mentor or somebody from your department refers you to me. So there are some professional boundaries that, as teachers, as educators, as professionals, we need to maintain. But keeping that aside, like I said, empathy is something which comes from within. The way you talk to the students, the way you deal with them, the way you interact with them, it is something which I believe we don't really need to put in a lot of conscious effort into it, and it really does help go a long way when it comes to establishing a rapport with the students, as you very rightly mentioned when you were discussing.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for your explanation. So there should be some line in between to what extent we should approach and to what extent. But empathy is a really wonderful thing that even a teacher can come to know the behavior and the what kind of attitudes the students are having. And on the other hand, there is always a barrier for the student feels little difficult to approach a teacher. So I think that will also get dissolved with this empathy word. And no doubt, empathy is very important. And there should be a demarcation line between these two, to what extent we should go and we should not go. So we have to think as per the situations and as per the circumstances. And it has been said that if we are very friendly with people, people take undue advantage also. So no doubt, we have to be there as a teacher, but not very rigid. So I'm from the medical field. We are having, mentor-mentee like concepts. So, I'm having 20 students with me and they are approaching very easily to me. And in medical colleges, it becomes so difficult, nowadays. So there are some emotional imbalances, there are some crises, there are some conflicts. And before it will become bigger one, I think that empathetic approach of the mentor plays a wonderful role. So with this, I once again congratulate you and appreciate your presentation. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sir. Your valuable discussion definitely will be effectively reached to these participants. And you are a teacher and also at the same time you are a doctor, so that you identifying these problems with our students and the patients also. So thank you for your valuable discussion on this topic. Now I request other participants, they can discuss with our speaker on today's topic. Thank you, ma'am, for the best presentation today and joining here as a speaker. It is a topic useful and related to our teachers. Definitely, they will implement your tools in their teaching learning, and they will create more educational and joyful environment for the students so that they can enjoy the learning environment. In future also you will be here as per your availability of time again on another topic related to our education. At the same time, you are requested to share two speakers from your contact so that we can continue this series every day. Thank you, ma'am. Within one
Thank
day,
you, sir.
within one day you have prepared. It's very proud thing that because of the support of the speakers, then only we are continuing this series. Many times, few speakers, because of their personal problem, they are unable to join. Actually, they are scheduled 1 month before we are scheduled because your speech was also 21st May. So taking care of this, but this technical problem occurs, and at the same time, I request speakers and they accept the invitation and they join early as like you. But you are very supportive and to this series. Thank you, ma'am, for your support to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for having me here. Thank you. Thank you to all the participants as well.
All participants are requested to fill the feedback link. Those who are new, they can join every day with the same link on the same time. I think you are inviting few new members so that they are joining you. I am seeing the names which are new. They might be from your side. I will share certificate to you all. You can share to them also if you find some certificates of your contacts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.